I'm Rob Zombie. This is TCM Underground. Back before they were known as independent, filmmakers who operated outside the confines of Hollywood were referred to somewhat condescendingly as regional. Tonight we have a pair of films from one of the most influential regional filmmakers of all time, George Romero's Night of the Living Dead and The Crazies. Romero grew up in the Bronx and at an early age became obsessed with his uncle's 8mm camera. He began recruiting friends and family for these silent productions, which grew steadily more and more ambitious. A maverick from the beginning, he was just 14 years old when he was arrested for throwing a burning dummy off a Parkchester rooftop while filming a scene from an early opus entitled The Man from the Meteor. When young George wasn't filming, he was watching films. Romero was a gifted student who skipped a couple of grades, which made him an outcast at school. So he took every possible opportunity to escape into movie houses. In one instance, he went as far as to rent a tuxedo to convince his parents he was going to the prom. He snuck down to 42nd Street and caught Clifton Webb in The Man Who Never Was. Twice. After graduating high school, Romero wound up at Carnegie Mellon University in Pittsburgh, studying art and drama. He failed to earn a degree, but supplemented his education by working summers as a PA on a number of Hollywood productions, including North by Northwest, an experience that fueled his passion for filmmaking, but soured him on the studio process. After cutting his teeth on a number of industrial films, TV ads, and documentaries, Romero and a group of his friends decided to take the plunge into feature filmmaking. None of them had a particular attachment to the horror genre, but it was decided that a low-budget horror movie would be easier to market than, say, a low-budget art film. Romero dusted off a short story he had written about the dead returning to life to feast on the flesh of the living, got 10 friends to pitch in $600 apiece, and Night of the Living Dead was born. The plot is pretty straightforward. On a trip to put a wreath on their father's grave, Barbara, played by Judith O'Dea, and her brother Johnny encounter a silent stranger who attacks them, knocking Johnny cold and chasing Barbara to a farmhouse, seemingly deserted but for a horribly mutilated corpse. There she crosses paths with Ben, played by Dwayne Jones, who boards up the house against the approaching ghouls, only to discover several more refugees hiding in the basement. A young couple, played by Keith Wayne and Judith Ridley, and the Coopers, whose daughter has been wounded by one of the ghouls. As the number of undead grows outside the house, inside, tensions rise as Ben and Cooper clash over how to defend themselves against the bloodthirsty hordes. When it was first released, Night of the Living Dead was met with disgust. One critic called it a cesspool of vile filth produced by sick minds for sick-minded people. Well, you be the judge. From 1968, here's George Romero's Night of the Living Dead.